So this is my review of the Plucky Squire. I just recently beat this in January of 2025. I had started it around the time it came out. I think that was I want to say September or August of 2024. Played a little bit. Was okay. So basically, you get 10 chapters in the game, and each chapter has mini bosses. Either a mini boss and or boss battle, and you're basically doing different kind of. So, for example, one of them, as was seen in one of the trailers, you're boxing a honey badger, I guess it was. And in doing that, it was a very simple mini game. I played on the easiest difficulty because let me tell you, some of these. So you play 2D and 3D segments as you're jumping in and out of the book called The Plucky Squire, named after you, which is a child's storybook where basically you're the hero, you're always besting the bad guy. And basically you have a bad guy in this game, and he breaks the proverbial fourth wall and changes the way that basically what happens in the book, and basically knocks you out of your book. And you go on this adventure, but 10 chapters. The last chapter is basically just what do you call it? It's and kind of end cutscenes. But there are 2D segments, the 3D segments, the jumping in and out of the book, where you're basically going in and out of the book to solve mysteries. So you'll get sometimes words as it would be written in a book, and you have to change out keywords. It would be something like the large stone bridge is broken, and then maybe you would change out the word large or broken. They don't give you every word. You don't choose any word. They have only certain words can be moved, and then you change it. You get different trophies for getting certain word phrases that are there that are written down. You could change things to make some things larger or different, or do different things, and it triggers a nice trophy. I didn't platinum this game, so basically my thoughts on this game are, now that you understand kind of an idea of what it is. Like I said, 2D segments, different power-ups, different abilities. I didn't find myself inclined to play through this from start to finish. I actually, as I think I mentioned, I started it when it came out around that time, and I just finished it now because basically the game kind of lost me. It was a little too talky, less action, and the action wasn't as there were spikes in the difficulty, so the action wasn't consistent, where the combat was pretty much what it was, but then you would have mini games that you would play to rhythm games or match puzzle games. Sometimes, especially near the end, I mean, the good thing is you can skip all those mini games and just not have to do them. But obviously, but I did try to complete all of them. I did have to skip one on one of the last levels because it was just really I failed. The good thing is when you fail it, you can restart it, and some of them will let you restart at different checkpoints in the battle, so you won't lose your progress. But one of the ones that I skipped, I failed it, I would say a good 9 times at least. And I was just getting like the difficulty spike really handed me a task that was too insurmountable for me to complete. But I mean, overall, I would say near the end of the game picked up and I couldn't put it down. But the beginning of the game kind of drags on, especially Chapter 4. Chapter 4 is very long. It's like one of the first long chapters, and it seems like you're just going through it for way too long at one point. So, yeah, I mean, would I recommend this? I would definitely recommend it. It was a very good game, and I liked the creativity that they did. They tried a lot of things, but some of the stuff was either too simple, and then some of the stuff made me scratch my head. Now, you have in the game, you have a hint system that is optional that you can use, and I only had to use the hint system 2 times. One of them, the hint kind of told me what I already knew, and I just had to figure it out. But the other time, the hint system basically directly told me what to do, and I was like, "Oh, okay, that I didn't think to do that," and I was scratching my head. There were points in this game where like I was really just going around and spent way too much time trying to figure out some of these puzzles. But like I said, once you figure them out, they go. There's some stealth segments in the game, which in the beginning I wasn't a fan of. How I also tried to play this game on I played a lot of the end of the game on my PlayStation Portal, but there's almost like kind of like Crypt of the Necrodancer, like every time the beat happens, you or an enemy need to move on the beat. And my connection, I guess, because I was remote playing indoors on my network, the connection kept, messing me up. So every time I pushed to move, I wouldn't move in accordance where I wanted to move. So, yeah, I mean, it was, I just had to, for that section, I had to jump off my portal and jump onto my system and go back on the TV and do it that way. But I mean, the section where you had to go according to the beat, that was actually a fun section. I found that very rewarding. A lot of these puzzles and minigames were very rewarding, and it was a lot of fun. If you looked at the trailer and you're like, oh, this game looks good, it is a good game. It is a fun game. I would highly recommend it. Just try to get past that 4th chapter. And once you're past the 4th chapter, the game is kind of gonna, at that point, I guess, open up and maybe get a little more like a good flow and cadence. But yeah, I'm dwelling on the same point over and over again. But basically, if I had to score this game, I would give it a high 7.5 to an 8. Only because of that issue with the portal, which isn't on the game, it's on the system. So, but also the fact that some of the mini games, the difficulty spikes were an issue. I mean, that was my experience with the portal. I guess if I didn't play on the portal, I would maybe score it with definitely a solid 8. But the difficulty spikes near the end and some of these mini games, I mean, although I appreciate the fact, because I wouldn't have made it through the game if I couldn't skip the mini game, I feel like it makes it like the minigame didn't really matter in the end, that if you completed it or not. So I guess that was kind of like a journalist thing that they did. Like, here, you journalists, you can pass the game, so you can tell us what it's like at the end. But yeah, definitely solid game. Highly recommend it. And I hope you enjoyed this review. If you want, you can follow me on the Casual Noob Gamer on Twitch, also, where I do live plays occasionally. Well, not occasionally. I'm trying to do more often. I'm playing basically games that are never ending. You could subscribe, comment, like the video here on YouTube, the Casual Noob Gamer. And yeah, thank you for watching this video. Have a good one.